On April 15th, 1989, what should have been a joyous FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest at Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield turned into one of the darkest chapters in British sporting history. 96 Liverpool fans were crushed to death in the Leppings Lane end of the stadium, victims not of hooliganism or drunkenness as initially claimed, but of catastrophic failures by police and emergency services. For decades, the truth was buried beneath a web of lies, falsified documents, and institutional denial. Only in 2012 did the full extent of the cover-up come to light, revealing a deliberate campaign to shift blame from authorities onto the victims themselves. The disaster unfolded when thousands of Liverpool supporters were directed into already overcrowded pens behind the goal. Police failed to manage the flow of fans, opening an exit gate that allowed a surge of people into the confined area. The pens were fenced in with high steel barriers, designed to prevent pitch invasions, but ultimately trapping fans with no means of escape. As the crush intensified, people were pressed against the barriers, unable to breathe or move. The match was abandoned 6 minutes after kickoff, but by then, the damage was done. 94 fans died that day. 2 more succumbed to their injuries later. In the immediate aftermath, South Yorkshire police began crafting a narrative that would dominate public perception for years. Officers claimed that fans had arrived late, drunk, and ticketless, forcing their way into the stadium and causing the crush. This version of events was echoed by tabloid newspapers, most notoriously The Sun, which ran a front-page story titled The Truth, alleging that Liverpool fans had pickpocketed the dead, urinated on police officers, and attacked rescue workers. These claims were entirely unfounded but served to vilify the victims and deflect scrutiny from the authorities. Behind the scenes, the cover-up was even more insidious. Police officers were instructed to alter their statements, removing criticisms of senior command and emergency response failures. The Hillsborough Independent Panel, established in 2009 and led by Bishop James Jones, later found that 164 statements had been amended, with 116 altered to remove or soften negative comments about the police. The panel also discovered that the coroner had imposed a controversial 3:15 p.m. cutoff time for evidence, based on the assumption that all victims had died or suffered irreversible injuries by then. This prevented scrutiny of the emergency response and medical care provided after that time. The panel's 2012 report, based on the review of over 450,000 documents, dismantled the official narrative. It confirmed that the disaster was caused by police mismanagement, stadium design flaws, and inadequate emergency response, not fan behavior. It revealed that 41 of the victims might have survived had they received prompt medical attention. It also exposed the extent to which government officials, police, and media colluded to protect institutional reputations at the expense of truth and justice. Prime Minister David Cameron addressed Parliament following the report's release, offering a formal apology to the families of the victims. He acknowledged the double injustice, the loss of life, and the subsequent smear campaign. The apology marked a turning point, but for the families who had fought for decades to uncover the truth, it was long overdue. The revelations prompted a new wave of investigations. The Independent Police Complaints Commission launched the largest inquiry in its history, examining the conduct of South Yorkshire Police and the role of West Midlands Police, which had led the original investigation. A separate criminal investigation, Operation Resolve, was also initiated. In 2016, fresh inquests concluded that the 96 victims had been unlawfully killed, and that police errors were the primary cause. The jury found that fans had not contributed to the disaster in any way. Despite these findings, accountability remained elusive. In 2019, former South Yorkshire Police Chief Superintendent David Duckenfield was tried for gross negligence manslaughter, but was acquitted. Other officials faced charges related to the cover-up, but convictions were rare. The legal outcomes left many families feeling that justice had been denied, even as the truth had finally been acknowledged. The Hillsborough disaster is not just a story of tragedy, it's a story of institutional betrayal, media manipulation, and the resilience of ordinary people in pursuit of justice. The families of the victims, supported by activists and legal advocates, refused to accept the official version of events. Their persistence led to the exposure of one of the most significant cover-ups in British history and forced a national reckoning with the abuse of power. Today, Hillsborough stands as a symbol of the need for transparency, accountability, and the protection of civil liberties. It reminds us that truth can be suppressed but not extinguished, and that justice, though delayed, can still be pursued. The legacy of the disaster continues to shape public discourse on policing, media ethics, and the rights of victims. It is a cautionary tale, a testament to the power of collective memory and moral courage.